or you had experienced silver elsewhere. And that experienced silver becomes a cause for this particular appearance. Silver which you may have seen a month ago in a shop or somewhere, that silver becomes the cause for appearance of this silver. But how can the experience that took place a month ago become the cause for an appearance now? Because the cause must precede the effect. Cause must precede the very moment when the effect takes place. Otherwise it is not cause. And therefore, so purva vrittitvam must be there. Effect takes place a moment before the cause must be there. Here you say that the cause, namely the past experience, took place some time ago. And therefore, how can that become the cause for the appearance now? So it is samskara dvara. That experience that we had earlier left in my mind samskara or impression. Those samskaras are invoked when I see shell. What invokes that samskara? That glitter in the shell. So sadrusham or similarity that the shell has with the silver invokes from my mind the samskaras of the silver that I had seen. So that purva drushta, the silver that was experienced or perceived earlier, the samskaras that it had left, so through that samskara, that experience becomes the cause of appearance of this silver. Sadrusham uktam bhavati smrutyaropayoho samskara janyatvat. Both smruti and aropya, both of them have samskara janyatvam. Memory also is caused by samskara and aropa also is caused by samskara. Idea is that I would not perceive a snake where there is rope had I never seen the snake. So I commit the error, or I mistake this rope to be snake, or there is a bhranti, or bhranti means a delusion of a snake where there is a rope, is because I had seen the snake in the past, and so that samskaras of the snake, they become the cause for this particular bhranti. So cause of bhranti also is samskara, and cause of memory also is samskara. When can I remember something? Only when I had past experience. Ya smritihi sa anubhava purvika. Wherever there is memory, a previous experience must be there. So this is a similarity between remembered object and projected object, that both of them have their cause in samskaras born of past experience. So snake that I project also is caused by samskaras of the snake that I had experienced, and the snake that I remembered also is caused by the samskaras that I had of the snake I had experienced. Except that snake that I remembered is a real snake, and snake that I project is an imaginary snake. There's a difference. All the cause is samskara. So that is sadrushyam. What is sadrushyam? Samskara janyatvam sadrushyam. Because smriti rupaha means what? Smriti sadrushaha. Similar to smriti. What is the similarity between smriti and this avabhasa? The smriti also is born of samskara, avabhasa also is born of samskara. In that way, smriti and avabhasa both are similar, but not the same. Similar things are not the same. So smriti rupa means smriti sadrushaha. Samskara janyatvat smriti avabhasayoho. So darshanad means anubhavad. Hatta pattanastha rajata anubhavajanya samskarat brahma smritistha jayavedi phalitam. That we said already, that the silver that you have seen or experienced earlier can cause smriti or also can cause appearance or avabhasa. Then what is the difference between memory and this aropa? Both seem to be the same. If you say that smriti also is born of the samskaras and this aropa also is born of samskara, then they sound the same. Because the cause is one alone and therefore the effect also should be the same. Then what is the difference between you are saying that the aropa is similar to smriti and not the same as smriti? What is it that makes that aropa different from smriti? If the cause of smriti also is samskara and cause of aropa also is samskara, then what makes them different from each other? That's the question. Nacha samskara janyatvat aropasya smrititva pattihi vachyam. So Purvapakshi says, samskarajanyatvat aropasya smrutitva apattihi. In as much as aropa also is born of samskara and smruti is also born of samskara, therefore we say that smruti and aropa are both the same because both of them are born of samskara. Itinavachyam, don't say that. Why? Because dosha samprayoga janyatvasyaphi vivakshitattvena samskara matra janyatva abhavat. See now, the difference between the memory, remembered object, and difference between the projected object. Says samskara matra janya jnanatvam smrutitvam. Smruti or the memory is born purely of samskara. Samskara matra janya jnanatvam smrutitvam. Or samskara matra janya jnanam smrutihi. A knowledge that is born of merely samskara is called smruti. But aropa requires some more samagri than that. तस्मात् न आरोपे अतिव्याप्ति इति परिहरति दोष इति दोष संप्रयोगजन्यत्वस्यापि विवक्षितत्वेन. In case of aropa or appearance or projection, not only there should be that samskara born of the past experience, but there should be dosha. What is the dosha? Ajnanam is a dosha. When I see the shell, then I do not appreciate that object as shell. And therefore there is what we call ignorance of the shell. And therefore, that ignorance of the shell is called, ajnana is called dosha. And samprayoga, what is samprayoga? Samprayoga means contact. There is contact with the shell also. The idea is that I perceive the shell. I don't perceive the shell totally. I perceive the shell as idam. So I perceive, there is no perception of the shell at all. Suppose there was a pitch darkness, there is no perception of the rope at all, there would have been no projection of snake. Or if ajnana dosha were not there, if I knew the rope as a rope, in that case also, that snake also would not be there. So both dosha also is there and samprayoga is there. When I project a snake where there is a rope, there is dosha because there is a rajju ajnanam. At the same time, samprayoga, there is contact with rajju also because there is what we call samanya jnanam. Idam amsha of the rope is known. So this aropa doesn't not only calls for the samskara of the past experience, but also calls for dosha and samprayoga. Otherwise, if there is no dosha, I am walking on the road and I remember a snake, that is not a projected snake. So when I walk and I think of snake, that snake is born of what? Merely from my samskaras. Or very often when we are walking and thinking, we remember silver. Suppose I have to get my daughter married, I may remember gold also. 40 tulas of gold, I remember. There is not a projected gold, it is what? Remembered gold, because it is born merely of the samskara of the gold. But where in fact there is what we call brass. And there I think, hey, I have found gold. Because I want 40 tulas of gold for my daughter's marriage, and therefore I am looking for it somehow. I don't have a penny with me anyway. And then, so that particular anxiety on my part might be responsible for, and then in fact there is lying brass but shining or glittering, and I don't recognize that thing as brass. I just think there is something glittering there, and therefore there is dosha also there. Samprayoga meaning contact with the brass also is there, and the samskara of gold also are there. Then I mistake that thing or I project there gold where in fact there is brass. So projection of snake where there is rope requires three things: dosha, samprayoga, samskara. Dosha, avidya dosha, not total ignorance, because samprayoga is there, contact is there, therefore there is some knowledge. What we call samanya amsha of the rope is known. Dosha, ajnanam is there because vishesha amsha of the rope is unknown, therefore there is dosha. And samskara, because in my mind there is the past samskaras or memories, samskaras of snake. So when these three things are there, then alone adhyasa or projection of the snake is possible where there is rope. However, snake that is remembered by me doesn't require seeing something, samprayoga is not required, doesn't require dosha or ajnanam, it just requires samskara. So there is a difference between smruti and aropa, that the causes are different. But similarity is that both of them are born of samskara. So that similarity is there. But then difference also is there because this aropa requires some further causes, namely dosha and samprayoga. So they are not the same, they are similar. So smruti rupa means smruti sadrusha. And purva drashta avabhasa. Purva drashta means purva darshana avabhasa. Appearance which has its cause in the samskaras. Then again Ratnaprabha continues, Ahankara adhyase indriya samprayoga alabha atra samprayoga shabdena. Somebody asked this question, but when you superimpose ahankara, when in fact there is atma, you have never seen atma. You see, when you superimpose snake where there is rope, there is some prayoga or contact with that rope. Where, however, there is contact with indriya sannikarsha, or that contact with sense organ, eyes, with that object is there. But when you superimpose ahankara where there is atma is not indriya vishaya, and therefore there is no samprayoga there. There is no contact of indriya with the atma, and therefore if you say that samprayoga also is required for, if samprayoga means indriya sannikarsha, samprayoga means contact with the sense organs is a required condition, then ahankara will not fall in that category. So Ratnaprabha says, Atra samprayoga shabdena adhisthana samanya jnana muchyate. Dosha shabdena adhisthana vishesha ajnana muchyate. Samprayoga shabdena adhisthana samanya jnana muchyate. Because it is not the contact with the rope that is really the criterion, there is a knowledge of the rope that is the criterion. In case of rope, of course, the knowledge of rope cannot be unless there is a contact with the sense organs. In case of Atma, there is a general knowledge of the Atma, Aham Asmi, Aham Bhami. That Samanya Jnana of the Atma is there without Atma being the object of sense organ. So we do not say that the contact with the sense organ is necessary, we say that Samanya Jnana is necessary, however it takes place. In case of rope and shell, of course, the Indriya Sannikarsha is necessary, but dosha is in case of Atma being self-shining, we have the general knowledge of Atma, Aham Asmi, Aham Bhami, without the contact of the sense organs, and therefore, Atra Samprayoga Shabdena Adhisthana Samanya Jnana Muchyate. All that is called for is Adhisthana Samanya Jnana. The Rajju is called Adhisthana. What is Samanya Jnanam? Idam Amsha, the knowledge of Idam Amsha of the Rajju is called Rajju Samanya Jnanam. In this case also, the Satta Sphurti, that Atma is Satta, Atma means Asti, Aham Asmi, and Aham Bhami, that Satta and Sphurti of the Atma are known to me, this would be called Samprayoga. And the Samanya Jnanam is there is no need or no rule that it should be born of Indriya Sannikarsha. It should be there somehow. For Anatma, Indriya Sannikarsha is required. For Atma, without Indriya Sannikarsha also, there is a contact with the Atma, and therefore, in case of Ahankara Adhyasa, Samprayoga means Atma Samanya Jnanam, Satta Sphurti Rupa Jnanam. What is dosha? Atmanaha Vishesha Jnanam. Then Aham Purnaha, Aham Muktaha. That knowledge is not there, that is a dosha. And Samskara is what? In the past birth also, I had there superimposition of Ahankara in Atma. And in this birth also, it continues. So all the samagri is there in the superimposition of Ahankara in Atma. So says, Ahankara adhyase indriya samprayoga alabhat samprayoga shabdena adhisthana samanya jnana muchyate. Because in case of Ahankara adhyase, in adhyas of Ahankara, the Indriya Samprayoga with Atma is not there, but Atma Samanya Jnanam is there. Okay, so Upasamharati. Now the Ratnaprabha concludes the discussion of Adhyasa of this particular Lakshana rather. Evam cha dosha samprayoga samskara balat shuktyaadav Rajatam utpannamasti. It is utpannam rajatam, understand? Rajata created. This is what explains the phenomenon of creation in general, according to Vedanta. Why we are so much, why we take so much time to discuss Adhyasa? Because it explains everything. There is a creation of silver. We say that every creation is like that only. That is where science comes. Scientists may think that there is a real creation. We say no, creation is always adhyaropa. There is no creation other than adhyaropa. This is Vedanta. Scientists may take another 1000 years to discover that. They already essentially discovered. But this is what they do. There is no real creation at all. Creation is what? Just an appearance. That is called creation. That's why it says Rajatam Utpannamaspi. This Utpatti of the Rajata, creation of Rajata is what? Nothing but Rajata Aropaha. Iti Rajata Utpattihi. Aropa or projection of Rajata alone is Utpatti of Rajat. There is nothing else. But you say that real Rajata I had seen, okay, that is real is just temporary. But there Rajata also is projected. The method of projection may be different. The method of projection are two. One is called Jiva Srishti, other is called Ishvara Srishti. One is called Pratibhasika Satta, other is called Vyavaharika Satta. So that silver that you remember is projected by Ishvara, and this silver that you see is projected by you. The difference. Projection is common. Whether Ishvara projects or you project. Whether it's your dream or Ishvara's dream, that's a different thing. But dreamness is there. So the projection is a common aspect. Except Lord's projection will last for a long time. And our projection lasts only for a minute or two. That difference is there. This will last for billions of years, and therefore it gives reality. And it looks very concrete. Therefore you think it is real. But in dream also, everything is very concrete. And everything seems to last for a long time. You see your grandfather and your grandchildren, all kinds of things you see in the dream. Depends on what you want to see. But therefore, the generations you experience in dream. That means several years, 50 years, 100 years you might experience in dream in the span of 1 minute. But then, so the difference is Pratibhasika Satta and Vyavaharika Satta. But then what we call Vyavaharika Rajatam also is once you prove this silver as projection, then they'll prove everything as projection. Find some similarity. You see, you must have a drishtanta where there is sadhya and hetu. And the moment you find hetu, sadhya comes. So just in the kitchen, you find the simultaneity of of smoke and fire. And when you see smoke there on the hill, you say there is fire. Similarly, in the creation of this silver, you say that it is purely projected silver. There is silverness in the silver, that is also projected. Wherever silver is, there is projection. Or some such thing you will find and prove everything to be projection. You may find it difficult to swallow. But if you give your mind to it and heart to it, then you will see. We don't give our heart to the things, Say, no. This world cannot be. My son cannot be projected. Everything else can be. This body cannot be like that. The whole world is mithya. This is real. And so we want to compartmentalize. That is emotional problem. That's the problem is we have, Swamiji, we understood everything. Intellect, everything is clear. But still, because there is an emotional problem, that there are some corner or certain thing that I want to retain. As Swami Akhananji used to say, says somebody comes and tells me that I will believe God only if God comes before me and creates this world and destroys it. Then I will believe there is God. He says, look, this fellow is so wonderful. He wants to see God create the whole world with this body. But if God has to create, this body also is part of the world. Therefore, how can you be there with this body to see the creation? And if you want to see the destruction, then this body also being part of the world, this also must be destroyed. How can you see it? So he imagines God as creator, sustainer, destroyer of the world other than this. So he isolates that part, and then he wants to see, and then finds a problem seeing there. I understand everything, but it doesn't seem to sink into my life because this emotional problem. Meaning that we want to compartmentalize things. That's our emotion. No, this body, the other body is all jada and is all nothing but, then I am able to see. Every other body is just a pack of filth, not this one. And so this is called an emotional problem. So that is there. Essentially what persists for bahunam janmanam. It is that problem which takes so many janmas, Otherwise things are very clear. And we can even give lessons to scientists today as far as creation is concerned. But you come out of that classroom and you are no different from the person who is taking lesson from you because again the same identification is there. But otherwise, that's why we say in the Pratibhasik Satta and Vyavaharik Satta, there is an emotional difference only that one creation lasts for a long time, other creation lasts only for a minute or two. Other than that, they are similar. So in here are the roots or the seeds of the whole thing Vedanta that is going to develop. Once this is understood, then everything is understood. You need not even actually study too much, That's why Chathsutri is enough also. Because then there are so many things to learn in Vedanta also, and then you can happily spend your time studying the whole Brahma Sutra. But this must be very clear. So, evam cha dosha samprayoga samskara balat. Doshasya samprayogasya samskarasya iti dosha samprayoga samskaraha. Tesham balat, on the strength of or because of the dosha samprayoga and samskara. Shuktyadau, in such things as avlokas, as in such loci as Shukti, Rajatam Utpanamasti. So why Rajatadi? Whatever. The silver Utpanamasti. So maybe people may imagine silver in a thing other than Shukti also. So you might see silver wherever there is something glittering. Shell is just one illustration. In some other glittering thing also you can see silver. So Shuktyadau. There can be many locuses or loci which glitter and which you may mistake or where you may project. We don't say we mistake that Shukti to be Rajatam. What do we say? We project silver where is Shukti. This is Vedanta. It's not an error of taking the Shukti, although we use the word, but here we must be clear. It is an error of taking Shukti to be Rajata. It is projecting Rajata where there is Shukti. So it is creating. This is Abhinava Rajatam. This is a new Rajatam, as you will say. It is a new silver that you have created. Who has created? You have created. Where in fact there is only shell or mother. That's called, so creation is called Adhyanava. Not committing an error only. It's not error of taking one thing to be other. It is projecting one thing where there is something else. Atasmin tad buddhi. So Shuktyadau Rajatam Utpannastiti Paratra Paravabhasyatva Lakshanam Upapannamiti. Paratra Paravabhasaha, appearance or a thing appearing elsewhere where it is not. This is the Lakshana of Adhyasa. Smriti Rupa Purva Drushta Padabhyam Upapaditam. So according to this Tikakara, Adhyasa Lakshanam is Paratra Avabhasaha. Avabhasaha, appearance, or that which appears. Paratra, where it is not. So that which appears where it is not is called Adhyasa. And this particular Lakshanam or the definition of Adhyasa is established or is ascertained by other two words, Smritirupaha and Paradrushtaha. So Purvadrushtaha. So Purvadrushta and Smritirupaha, these two words only complement the definition. They are not necessary, they are not part of definition. So Smriti Rupa and Purva Drashta are not part of the definition. Definition of Adhyasa is what? Paratra Avbhasaha. And Smriti Rupa Purva Drashta Padabhyam Upapaditam. Upadam means Siddham Sadhitam. That we have shown how this particular Lakshana of Adhyasa, Paratra Avbhasaha, how that particular Lakshana or definition is arrived at or established with the help of the two words Purva Drushtaha and Smriti Rupaha. So even if those two words are not there in the definition, still Paratra Avbhasaha, that is the definition of Adhyasa, because in Anadi Adhyasa those two are not required. Anadi Adhyasa is the Adhyasa that is of the beginningless, from beginningless time. For example, this Adhyasa of the contact of Avidya with Atma. There is no samskara required there, and there is no prior knowledge also required there. It is going on. So in Anadi Adhyasa, that Purva Drashta and Smriti Rupaha padas are not required. In Sadi Adhyasa, those padas are required. Therefore we say that they are not always necessary. These two words are necessary in a particular case of Sadi Adhyasa, but they are not necessary for every Adhyasa. Therefore we say that Paratra Avbhasaha is the definition of Adhyasa, and Smriti Rupaha Purva Drushta is that which actually helps us accomplish this or validate this definition of Adhyasa. But then some other people also give definition. Adi Shabdena Shuktyavat Chinna Chaitanya Muchyate. और शुक्त्यादौ आदि शब्देन शुक्ति अवच्छिन्न चैतन्यम उच्यते. In the Shukti or Shukti avachinna Chaitanyam, in the consciousness conditioned by Shukti or circumscribed by Shukti, that's where the Aropa of the Rajata is. That's okay. Then that should be comma there. Paratra avvasapadabhyam sadi anadi adhyas sadhanam sadharanam lakshanam uktam bhavati. Where Rakara is missing there, then sadi anadi adhyas sadharanam lakshanam uktam bhavati. Smriti rupa purva drishtapadabhyam साधि अध्यास लक्षण मुक्तमिति यन मतद्वयम तद उपादयति. So paratra avabhasa padabhyam, by these two words paratra and avabhasa, sadhi anadi adhyasa sadharanam lakshana muktam bhavati. That paratra avabhasa is applicable to both sadhi adhyasa and anadi adhyasa. Smriti rupa purva drishta padabhyam, by these two words smriti rupa and purva drishta, sadhi adhyasa lakshana muktam iti yan madadvayam. There is another mata. So this particular definition of Bhashyakara is explained somewhat differently by two other commentators, which this commentator quotes here. Because that explanation also contributes something to our understanding. So therefore he thinks that there also should be mentioned. He just mentions them here because they present slightly different understanding or explanation of Bhashyakara's definition. So these two matas are also presented here. Anyetu ityadina. Says Ratnaprabha, Anyetu tabhyam doshaditrayajanyatvam karyadhyasa lakshanam uktamiti ahuhu. Anyetu, some other tikakaras say, tabhyam means what? Smriti rupa purvadushta padabhyam. Because that just came in the previous line, Smriti rupa purvadushta padabhyam upavadidam. So tabhyam means Smriti rupa purvadushta padabhyam. By these two words, Smriti Rupa and Purvadrashta, Doshaditrayajanyatvam Karyadhyasa Lakshana Muktam. They say that this should also form the part of the total definition. Definition is not merely Paratra Avhasa, but these two other words also are part of definition because Doshaditrayajanyatvam. Doshadi, dosha, then Samprayoga and Samskara. So Janyatvam Karyadhyasa Lakshanam. Karyadhyasa means this sadhi adhyasa. So this adhyasa lakshanam is what? Doshaditraya janyatvam. Adi shabdena samprayoga samskaro gruhyate. So doshaditraya janya adhyasa veshatvam artharupa adhyasa lakshanam. So according to them, adhyasa is that which is created on account of these three, dosha, samprayoga and samskara. So that which is the creation of dosha, samprayoga and samskara is adhyasa. That which is created merely by samskara is called smriti, and that which is created by dosha, samprayoga and samskara is called adhyasa. They think that it is necessary to have these two words also included, but that would be necessary for sadhi adhyasa, which is accepted by this tikakara also. अस्मिन् मतेपि स्मृतिरूपः स्मर्यमाण सदृशः सादृश्य प्रतिपादकं पूर्वदृष्टपदमिति अभिप्रेत्य फलितं लक्षणाः. So in this mata also स्मृतिरूपः is स्मर्यमाण सदृशः and सादृश्य प्रतिपादकं पूर्वदृष्टपदम्. As Ratnaprabhakara said that पूर्वदृष्टपद enables us to see the sadrushyam by way of samskara and smritirupa is smriti sadrushah. So that aspect is accepted by this tikakara also. But except that he chooses to explain adhyasa in this manner that doshaditraya janyatvam adhyasa lakshanam. So vyavaharika pratibhasika sadhi adhyasa sadharana lakshana muktam ityartha. Whether vyavaharika adhyasa or pratibhasika adhyasa. See, where we see mirage water, where in fact there is desert, that would be vyavaharika adhyasa because it's an objective thing seen by everybody. Whereas the snake, where in fact there is rope, is called pratibhasika adhyasa because I alone see that, other people don't. Some other people may see rope there. So two kinds of adhyasas, vyavaharika and pratibhasika. Ishvara Srishti and Jiva Srishti. For both of them, this particular lakshanam, doshaditraya janyatvam, is applicable according to them, which is okay. स्वमते संस्कारजन्य ज्ञान विषयत्वं यत् सादृश्यमुक्तं तदेव अस्मिन् मतेऽपि इति मन्तव्यम्. That in this mata also other explanations are similar. प्रकारान्तरेण सादृश्यम् उपपादयितुं पूर्ववत् कर्म व्युत्पत्त्यादिकम् आश्रित्य लब्धमर्थमाह. All right, sadrishyam in this case between adhyaropa and smruti is samskarajanyatvam. Both of them are born of samskara. There is another tikakara who gives sadrushya in a different way. Prakarantarena sadrishyam upapadayitum. In another manner also you can give the sadrushya of aropya with smaryamana. And what is that? So page 44, Ratnavaras aparetu smriti rupaha smaryamana sadrushaha सादृश्यं च प्रमाण अजन्य ज्ञान विषयत्वं स्मृत्यारोपयोः प्रमाण अजन्यत्वात्. Aparedu, other Tikakaras explain this in this manner. Smriti Rupaha means what? Smaryamana Sadrusha. That is the same. Smriti Rupaha, Smruti Sadrusha. And Smruti is what? Smaryate is Smritihi. So Smaryate is called Smaryamanam. Smruti Vishayaham. And so Smaryamana Sadrusha, Smriti Rupaha means Smaryamana Sadrusha, similar to an object that is remembered. This explanation is same as the Ratnaprabha explanation. But what is Sadrushyam? Ratnaprabhakara said, Samskara Janyatvam Sadrushyam. It is Sadrushyam cha Pramana Ajanya Jnana Vishayatvam. So between memory and Aropa, similarity is both of them are Pramana Ajanya Jnana. So when I remember silver, that knowledge of silver is not born of Pramana, meaning actually I don't see the silver. Pramana means like Pratyaksha. So when the silver is there and I perceive, then that knowledge of silver will be Pramana Janya Jnanam. Because I perceive the silver and then that is why I know the silver. But when I remember silver, then also I know the silver. Except that memory is not born of actual perception of silver. Therefore, that knowledge in the form of memory is called Pramana Ajanyam. Pramana means our sense organs of perception. So, sense organs of perception are called Pramana. And Pramana Ajanyam, this knowledge of memory is not born of Pramana, and still it is there because of samskara. So, Pramana Ajanya Jnana Vishayatvam. And even Aropa also is what? When I imagine or project silver there, that also is not born of Pramana. Meaning, that silver that I project, where in fact there is mother of pearl, is the silver I don't see by my eyes, not that I remember also, but still it is projected. So that knowledge of that projected silver also is not Pramana Janyam, not born of valid means of knowledge, and the memory of the silver also is not Pramana Janya. So Pramana Ajanya Jnana Vishayatvam Sadrushyam. There is similarity between both Smaryamana Vishaya and Aropya Vishaya. The similarity that is quoted, that is mentioned by this Tikakara or indicated by this Tikakara is Pramana Ajanya Jnana Vishayatvam Smruti Aropayoho Pramana Ajanyatvad. Because those Smruti and Aropa, both of them are Pramana Ajanya. Then Purva Drushta is what? We said Purva Darshanat Avbhasaha. Purva Drushta Avbhasaha, Ratnaprabhakara explained as Purva Dushtat or Purva Darshanat Avbhasaha. Avbhasa, that is appearance, that is created on account of earlier experience. But here he says Purva Dushtapadam Tat Jatiya Param. So Purva Dushta means similar to what you are seeing. You see the silver now, you have seen silver earlier. It is not the same silver, similar silver, or silver of the same class. An object of the same class is called Jati. So in the past you had experienced silver, now you are projecting silver. This silver that is projected is of the same class as the silver that you had experienced before. Not the same, of the same class. A thing of the same class is not the same. So therefore, the difference between Aropya and Smaryamana is shown by Jatiya Padam. So Tat Jatiya Param, Purva Drushta Padam, Tat Jatiya Param. Purva Tat Jatiya means what? Purva Drushta Nishtha Jata Vishishta. Earlier you seen silver, silver had silverness. The silver that you experienced in the past had silverness. Silver that you have projected also has silverness. So that silverness is what is similar between them. So Purva Drushta Padam, Tat Jatiya Param. Abhinav Rajatadehe Purva Drushtatva Abhavat. Abhinav Rajatadehe meaning what? Shuktiyadav Utpanna Rajatadehe. Abhinav is new. So new rajatam is what? Shuktyadau utpanna rajatadehe. That rajata or silver that is projected upon the shukti is called abhinava rajatam. That projected is the shukti also is silverness, but is not the same silver as you had experienced. Tasacha, then what's the definition of adhyasa? Tasacha pramanajanya jnana avishayatva, pramanajanya jnana avishayatve sati. There is jnanam alright, but pramanajanyam jnanam. Pramanajanya jnana avishayatve sati purvadrushta jatiyatvam pratitika adhyasa lakshanam tabhyam uktam. So tathacha, therefore the definition is pramanajanya jnana avishayatve sati. When this adhyasa is not being an object of knowledge that is born of valid means of knowledge, urudrushta jatiyatvam, and it possesses is of the same class as the object that you had experienced in the past, meaning silverness. Pratitika adhyasa lakshanam. Pratitika adhyasa lakshanam is pratibhasika adhyasa lakshanam. Purvamata apekshaya asminate lakshana bheda jnapanaya pratitika iti uktam. That adhyasa pratitika, same adhyasa, but in order to show that this definition is different from our definition, somewhat different. Alright, this also is okay, because this silver has the same class as silver that you've seen before, and both this aropa and the smriti, both of them are not born of valid means of knowledge, so this definition also is okay, but not as good as our definition. But it is given here because it does contribute a little more understanding, therefore he gives it here. Paratra vasa shabdabhyam adhyasamatra lakshanam vyakhyatamev. And they also say that Paratra vasa shabdabhyam adhyasamatra. Sadi anadi, in all this adhyasa, Paratra vasa is applicable, which is applicable acceptable by them also. But Smriti Rupa and Purvadrashta, these two padas are explained in this manner. Tatra smarimana gangadau abhinav ghate cha adivyapti nirasaya pramana ityadi padadvayam iti ahuhu. Why was it needed? They say that in the definition of adhyasa, you must add these two words, pramana ajanya vishayatve sati purvadrashta jatiyatvam. These two words must be added. Why? Tatra smarimana gangadau. Suppose you remember Ganga. That memory of Ganga, we are sitting in Ahmedabad, you've just been there to Rishikesh, so you remember Ganga. How nice, how much water was there and how cold it was and how nice it was to take bath and how fresh you feel and so on and so forth. Suppose you remember that Ganga. Would it be adhyasa? Says no, because it is not pramana ajanya, what purvadrushta gangadau, smaryamana gangadau. So smaryamana gangadau pramana ajanya jnana vishayatve sati purvadrushta jatiyatvam is not there. The Ganga that you remember is not similar to the Ganga that you have seen, the same Ganga. So purvadrushta jatiyatvam, if the Ganga that you remember was similar to Ganga you had seen elsewhere, then it would be adhyaloka. But Ganga that you remember is the same as the Ganga that you had seen before. Therefore, purvadrushta jatiyatvam is not there. It's not the same class, it's the very same Ganga. And abhinava ghate, suppose a new ghata that you see, would that be now if somebody brings a ghata here and places, would that be adhyasa? He says no. Pramana ajanya jnana vishayatvam is not there. Ghata jnanam is pramana ajanya jnanam, and so pramana ajanya jnana vishayatvam is not there in abhinava ghata. And smaryamana Ganga doesn't have purvadrushta jatiyatvam. Therefore smriti also is not adhyasa and perception also is not adhyasa, only projection is adhyasa. So smriti is eliminated from adhyasa by calling it purvadrushta jatiyatvam, and perception of a real object is eliminated by pramana ajanya jnana vishayatvam, and that's how ativyapti nirasa also is done. Ativyapti nirasaya pramana ityadi padadvayam ityadi means pramana ajanya jnana vishayatvam and purvadrushta jatiyatvam. These two words are there to exclude the inclusion of all these other things. Tatra artha adhyase smarimana sadrushah paratra purvadarshanat avhasyate iti yojana. So now concluding this, now this definition of Bhashyakara, tatra artha adhyase, in what we call artha adhyasa, meaning the appearance, or meaning the one object appearing where there is another object. that arthadhyasa. So Rajata in this case, smaryamana sadrushaha. That silver that you project is similar to the silver that is remembered. Paratra means in Shuktika where there is a simultaneous non-existence of silver. Purvadarshanat avbhasyade. So Purvadarshanat means on account of samskaras that are born of the past experience. Avbhasyade, Rajatam avbhasyade. The Rajata that appears there is called Arthadhyasa, which Rajata is similar to the remembered Rajata but not the same, which is born because of the samskara of the past experience, and which it appears where in fact there is total non-existence of Rajata. That would be called Adhyasa. So Adhyasa is, you must know all this. Arthadhyasa smaryamana sadrushaha paratra purvadarshanat avabhasate, because Rajatam avabhasate iti yojana. And Jnanadhyase tu Smruti sadrushaha paratra purvadarshanat avabhasate iti vakyam yojanim sangshepaha. It should be purvadarshanat avabhasaha, I better. So there Jnanadhyasa. What is Jnanam? Appearance is called Jnanam. Silver is called Arthadhyasa, and appearance of knowledge of silver is called Jnanadhyasa. In that case, the Smruti will not be Smruti Vishaya, but then Smruti is Bhavarupa. So Smaryate is Smrutihi, that is called Karma Vitpatti. But Smaranam is Smrutihi. So remembrance is called Smruti, that is Bhava Vitpatti. Smruti Padasya Smaranam Evarthaha na Smaryamanatvam. Smruti means remembrance. So knowledge is, remembrance is knowledge. Smruti Sadrusha, a knowledge similar to the knowledge of memory, but not the same as memory. Paratra in Shuktika where that knowledge is not there. Purvadarshanat avabhasaha, that avabhasa or appearance on account of samskaras of the past. So that appearance on account of samskara of the past, appearance where there is a total non-existence of that object, which appearance is similar to the memory but not the same as memory. That appearance of knowledge is called Jnanadhyasa, is the appearance of false silver. Iti vakyam yojanam iti sangshepaha. Okay, so in this manner, Smruti Rupaha Paratra Pura Dushta Abhasaha, the definition of Adhyasa is explained. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Yau Brahmana Pura Kantham Dhitva Vidiryatau Tasman Mangalikavabhau. Om Atha Gocharayoho Vishaya Vishayinoho Tamah Prakashavad Viruddhasvabhavayoho Itaretar Bhavan Upapattau Siddhaya Tadharmanapi Sutara Itaretar Bhavan Upapattihi Ityataha Asmat Pratyay Gochare Vishayini Chidatmage Yushmat Pratyay Gocharasya Vishayasya Tadharmanancha Adhyasaha Smruti Rupaha Paratra Purvadrashtaavabhasaha. अर्थाध्यासे स्मर्यमाण सदृशः परत्र पूर्वदर्शनात् अवभास्यते इति योजना. So ultimately what it amounts to is arthadhyasa. When we are talking of arthadhyasa, meaning where there is an appearance or creation or projection of one artha where there is in fact another artha. Smaryamana sadrusha, the adhyasa, that artha that appears is smaryamana sadrusha. Smaryamana means smriti vishaya. So that silver that we see in place of the mother of pearl is smaryamana, similar to the silver that is experienced before, or similar to the silver that becomes the object of memory, but not the silver that is object of memory. So to eliminate the ativyapti in memory, this particular word has been added, smriti rupa, or rupa means sadrusha, smaryamana sadrusha. Smriti, smaryate, it is smriti, that is called karma vyutpatti. Means which adhikaranam of the locus is ayogya, where there is a total atyanta abhava in that adhikaranam. Purva drushtavbhasah purva darshanat avbhasate. So artha avbhasate, that rajatam or something similar to rajatam avbhasate that appears. Purva darshanat, so purva darshanat hetoho, the samskaras that are born as a result of the past experience. Which samskaras create this particular avabhasa, create this adhyaropa. Which adhyaropa is similar to memory, but not quite the memory. Adhyaropa of an entity or of a substance where it is not. So appearance of a substance where simultaneously there is total non-existence of the substance. That appearance, of that which appears in this manner is called adhyasa, arthadhyasa. And appearance is called jnanadhyasa. Jnanadhyase tu smriti sadrusha paratra purva darshanat avbhasate. So the Tikakara says Purnanandi on the page 45, Tathacha, the second line, Tathacha smriti sadrusha purva anubhav janit samskara janyah shuktau adhyasta rajadadi vishayaka avbhasah iti वाक्यस्य फलितार्थः. In case of jnanadhyasa, तथा च स्मृति सदृशः. The smriti means smaranam. What is jnanadhyasa? Appearance of silver, or the knowledge rather. The knowledge of that silver that appears there is smriti sadrusha, similar to memory but not memory. Purvanubhava janita samskara janyah. So purva drashta avabhasa, purva drashta, purvanubhava janita samskara janyah. That avabhasa, that knowledge is samskara janyah, that is born of the samskaras of the past experiences. Shuktau adhyasta rajadadi vishayaka avabhasah. That appearance and knowledge of objects such as rajata upon such loci or locuses as shukti. So this is called jnanadhyasa. Iti vakyasya phalitarthaha. Etena smriti sadrushaha avabhasah avabhasate iti anvaya doshaha nirdishi. The Tikakara says avabhasate. In jnanadhyasa it should have been avabhasah. It is avabhasa. Avabhasate. So what is subject? Avabhasah avabhasate. That's not a proper anvaya. And so phalitartha is srajatadi vishayaka avabhasah. Avabhasate iti padasya bhavavyutpatti jnapakatvena vyakhyatatvat. Purvadarshanat avabhasati pathantaram. So Purvadarshanat avabhasate or Purvadarshanat avabhasah. Now Purnanandiya, he gives us in brief Atra paratra avabhasah iti padadvaya parishkarena atasmin tadbuddhi adhyasah iti jnanadhyasasya lakshanam vaktavyam. Now in this particular discussion of adhyasa, paratra avabhasah, appearance elsewhere, appearance where it is not. Iti padadvaya parishkarena. So based on these two these words, atasmin tadbuddhi adhyasah. Bhashyakara again is going to say atasmin tadbuddhi adhyasah. It avocham. We already said atasmin tadbuddhi adhyasah. Tadbuddhi. Now that is jnanadhyasa. When Bhashyakara talks of tad buddhi, so usually problem is that jnanam. So tad buddhi, the knowledge of that, atasmin, where it is not. So knowledge of that, where it is not. Knowledge of silver, where it is not, that is called adhyasa. So that is same as paratra avhasa. Paratra is atasmin, avhasa tad buddhi. So the very same words are expressed differently. Atasmin tad buddhi is a very famous expression. Paratra avhasa is not a famous expression, but atasmin tad buddhi. So knowledge of that which where it is not. This is called adhyasa. Iti jnana adhyasasya lakshanam vaktavyam. So paratra avhasa becomes the lakshanam for jnana adhyasa. Kincha smrutyaropayoho samskarajanya jnanatvam praman ajanya jnanatvam va sadrishyam pratipadaniyam. So smruti rupa means smruti sadrushaha. This knowledge of the false entity is similar to memory. What is not the same as memory? Similar to memory. What is similarity with the memory? We can look upon it, that similarity in two ways. Samskara janya jnanatvam. Memory also is knowledge born of samskaras, and this Brahma also is knowledge born of samskara. We call it knowledge. Jnanam meaning knowledge in general. So vritti jnanam. Not necessarily prama in this case, but jnanam is vritti jnanam. And so memory also is a vritti. So smruti also is a vritti. Even Brahma also is a vritti. So all of that is called jnanam in general. Jnanam means that knowledge. Samskara janya jnanatvam. Both smruti as well as adhyasa are born of samskara. That's the similarity between them. Or pramana ajanya jnanatvam. As the other Tikakara said, sadrushyam, similarity between memory and adhyasa is pramana ajanya jnanatvam. It's a jnanam not born of pramanam or valid means of knowledge. So neither smruti is a pramana ajanya jnana, meaning when I remember a part at this time, that knowledge of the part is not born of the contact of my sense organ with the part. So when there is indriya sannikarsha, when there is a contact of the sense organ with the sense object, and then knowledge that arises will be pramanajanya jnana. But here, there is a thought of the part in my mind without contact with a part right now, and that is born of the knowledge that had taken place in the past. So since memory is a knowledge which is born not of a direct perception, but born because of samskaras of the previous perception, it is called now, if you want to call memory knowledge, it is not the knowledge born of pramana or a valid means of knowledge. And therefore memory also has this aspect that it is pramana ajanya jnanam, and of course adhyasa is also pramana ajanya because there is not proper contact with the whole rope. So when I project a snake upon the rope, then my eyes do not have contact with the rope entirely. It has contact only with idam amsha of the rope and not with the rope entirely. And therefore, the knowledge of snake also is not pramanajanyam. So snake also, knowledge of snake also has pramana ajanya jnanatvam. So either way we can look upon the smruti rupa, smruti sadrusha, and sadrusham or similarity can be understood in either way. अपिच अध्यासे संस्कार पदेन विवक्षित दोष संप्रयोग जन्यत्वमपि उपादनीयमिति अभिप्रेत्याह इति संक्षेपः. And further, in this adhyasa, samskara padena, when there is samskara, in the samskara we should also understand two more things. Samskara padena vivakshita dosha samprayoga janyatvam api upapadaniyam. That so not only it is born of samskara, but it is also born of dosha, because had it been merely samskara, then memory also is born of samskara, adhyasa also is born of samskara. Then what's the difference? Why don't you call this adhyasa as memory? Says no, adhyasa also calls for dosha and samprayoga. What do you mean by dosha? Ajnana dosha in this case. That not knowing the adhisthana. And samprayoga, there is a contact with adhisthana. In memory, when I remember a snake, there is no contact with the snake or a rope or anything. But When I project a snake where there is a rope, there is contact with the rope. So some prayoga is there, contact is there. But what sort of contact? Dushita samprayoga hai. That contact is actually not proper. So I do not have contact with the entire rope. I only have contact with idam aspect of the rope. So that is a dosha. So ignorance also is involved, contact also is involved, and samskaras are also involved. So we should say purva drashta avabhasah, purva drashtat or purva darshanat avabhasah. The darshanat hetoho, the purva darshanam becomes hetu. Purva darshanam only indicates samskara, because past experience can only create samskara. In that samskara we should also include some factors associated with the present darshanam. And what is it? Dosha and samprayoga. So dosha and samprayoga are not clearly evident in that purva drishta pada, but we should understand them also to be included there. It is sangshepaha. And so, in order to clarify this, the Tikakara also mentioned here the other two opinions. So, in this manner, sangshepaha. You can keep on, apparently, according to them, you can keep on elaborating this more and more, but this is adequate for the moment to understand this phenomenon called adhyasa. Now Purnananda continues. Nanu lakshana kasanantaram avyaptyadi dosha abhavat karma prapta sambhavano upanyasa eva uchitah na matantara upanyasah. Now Bhashyakara quotes some matantara. Our definition of adhyasa is atasmin tadbuddhi or paratra avabhasah. That's our definition of adhyasa. But there are other thinkers who define adhyasa in different ways. Meaning they have their own concept of how this adhyasa takes place. So adhyasa here is brahmajnanam. So how that brahmajnanam takes place, different people have different opinions. Everyone accepts Brahma. But what's the nature of that jnanam? And what's the nature of that upon which the knowledge, the adhishthanam? So in this Brahma, adhisthana is involved and adhyaropa is involved. So rope is involved and snake is involved. So in this knowledge, in this whole phenomenon, what is the nature of that adhisthana and what's the nature of adhyaropa? There, different thinkers have different opinions. And Bhashyakara mentions those opinions also before proceeding to discuss the sambhavana. We said that adhyasa is going to involve this discussion of three aspects: the lakshana, sambhavana and pramana. Actually, lakshana discussion is over. That's what this is. Nanu lakshana kathanantaram. Lakshana has been stated. Smriti rupaha paratra pura dushta bhasah. Then avyaptyadi dosha bhavat. In that definition there is no dosha. It's a very accurate definition, free of the dosha of ativyapti, avyapti and a sambhavana, which is what the Tikakara showed. Then lakshana discussion is complete. When you explain what lakshana is, and when you show that it is free of all those defects, then discussion of lakshana is complete. Then Bhashyakara should have started discussing sambhavana bhashyam. So kama prapta sambhavanopanyasa eva uchitah. Then Bhashyakara should have proceeded with discussion of sambhavana. Na matantara upanyasa. There is no need here to mention the matantara, the opinion of other people with regard to adhyasa. Tatha cha katham uttara bhashya sangatihi. Then how do we explain the connection that this bhashya has with the subsequent bhashya, subsequent statements? Ityashankya lakshana parishodhanaya eva matantaropanyasah. Lakshana parishodhanaya. In order to even further clarify this lakshana, paratra avabhasah, this lakshana, parishodhanaya, in order to make it pure or clean, devoid of any of the doubts or whatever, matantara upanyasa, there is this upanyasa or presentation of other matas. Iti shankottarabhyam sangatim pradashayan. This is called shanka sangati. So, samshaya sangati or shanka. That when you give this definition of adhyasa, then it raises a question or a doubt that some other people define adhyasa in different ways, because people have heard others also and they have exposure to other people also and other texts also. So this question will arise Naiyayikas have this to say and Vaisheshikas have something else to say. So they define adhyasa differently and you define adhyasa. Well, you have given your own definition and shown it to be clean, alright. Neat definition, okay. But still, other people have other opinion about adhyasa, and so unless you clarify that, people will still have this doubt in their mind whether or not what the way we define adhyasa is the proper definition or not. So Shankottarabhyam Sangatim Pradarshyan Uttar Bhashyam Avatarati Nanuviti. So Ratna Prabhakara shows the need for the subsequent few sentences of Bhashyakara, where Bhashyakara gives Matantara, the opinion of other thinkers. Nanuviti. So says Ratna Prabhu, Nanu Adhyase Vadi Pratipatte Katham Uktalakshana Siddhihi. The Shanka. Nanu Adhyase Vadi Vipratipatte Prakrute Vipratipattirnama Vivadaha. Adhyase Vivadasya or Adhyase Vivade. So when Vivada or difference of opinion is there with reference to Adhyasa, Katham Ukta Lakshana Siddhi, then the Lakshana of the definition that you stated, Paratra Bhasaha, Katham Siddhi. How do you say that this Lakshana is a neat or clean Lakshana? When other people define Adhyasa differently, then how do you justify your definition? Iti Ashankya. So this is Ashanka, Sangati. Adhishthana Aropya Swarupa Vivadepi. We say that yes, there is Vivada. In which aspect of Adhyasa there is Vivada? In the entire aspect of Adhyasa there is no Vivada. In the Adhishthana Aropya Swarupa Vivadepi, there is Vivada or contention with reference to Adhishthana Swarupa and Aropya Swarupa. Adhishthana means substratum. What is the nature of substratum? There people have contention. And what's the nature of that which is superimposed? There also there is contention. Tathapi Paratra Paravabhasa iti lakshane samvadat. But however, everyone accepts this aspect, this particular aspect of Adhyasa, Paratra Paravabhasa, appearance of one thing where it is not. In that aspect, all the definitions are in agreement. So there is an agreement or concurrence of all the thinkers with reference to this aspect of Adhyasa, that Adhyasa is Paratra Paravabhasa. It is Lakshane. So in that Lakshana, that aspect of Lakshana, Samvada means concurrence. So agreement, there is Yukti later on. Once you accept this, then we'll prove everybody else to be wrong anyway. First of all, we'll say that all the fellows have agreement in this element, Paratra Paravabhasa. Then we'll show where their defect is involved in their thinking. It's very clear. So, Yukti Satya Adhishthane Mithyartha Avabhasa Siddhe. Then we will show by Yukti that Adhishthana must be Satyam and Avabhasa must be Mithya. Then we'll say what are the opinions that Purnanandi will clarify, but this is what we'll arrive at. Sarvatantra Siddhante Idam Lakshanam. Since other elements of the definition of Adhyasa are wrong in their case, this right element should be replaced there also, then everybody's opinion will be the same. You understand? So you take 5 opinions and everywhere you see what? Paratra Paravabhasa. That is the element that is common. And then other elements of Adhyasa that they define will show where the defect in thinking is involved, and will show how what we say that Adhishthana must be real and Adhyaropa must be projected or Mithya, that is only thing that can be proper, and so other elements of other definitions should be eliminated and this should be replaced. Then everybody says the same thing about Adhyasa, So, Sarvatantra Siddhante. In all the Siddhanta, meaning in all the Shastra or opinions, Idam Lakshanam. This Lakshanam will come. What is Lakshanam? This Smriti Rupa hai. Paratra Purudrushta Bhasa. Then Lakshanam iti Matva. Therefore, Lakshana Parishodhanam is necessary. This Lakshana of Adhyasa everywhere, for everyone. If they understand it properly. If they don't understand it properly, then perhaps they may continue to entertain a different opinion. But if they understand Adhyasa properly, then this is a universal definition. Iti Matva. अन्यथा आत्मख्यातिवादिनो मतमाह. Khyativad is this Khyati, as we said, is Brahmajnanam. So this Brahmajnanam takes place, this delusion takes place of seeing silver where there is rope. There is a vada or contention or difference of opinions about how this thing takes place and what's the nature of that Brahman. So then Anyatha Khyati, and then what is it? Atma Khyati, these different Khyatis are there. So says Puranandiya, we said Prakrute Vipratipatirnama Vivadaha Adhisthana Aropyayoho Yat Surupam Tasya Vivadepi. So Adhisthana Aropyayoho Yat Surupam. Of Adhisthana Aropa, the nature of them. Tasya Vivadepi Iti Vigraha. Okay. Adhishthanam Satyam Iti Satyavadino Vadanti. The people who take everything is real, the world as real, they say that even that Rajju also is real. Asatyamiti asatyavadinah. There are fellows who say Rajju also is non-existent. Snake is non-existent, Rajju also is non-existent. That is called asatkhyativadinah. These are the Shunyavadins who say that everything, outside and inside, everything is Shunyam. So in Buddha, their Shunyavad is alright, but there also there are two basic opinions. One is what we call Kshanika Vijnana. Another is called Shunyavadi. Shunyavadi are Madhyamikas, those follow the Yogacharya. They said outside is Shunyam, inside is real. So Kshanika Vijnana say that there is a real or a constant that Vijnana Santati, a Pravaha is there. So Aloka Santati or a constant flow of that Vijnanam, Kshanika Vijnanam is there. And everything else is projected. There is no outside world at all. What is outside and what is inside, the difference of outside and inside is a projected difference. So you project a Shuktika and project also the thing that Shuktika is different from you, and that is how you think that there is a world outside of you and different from you. There is no world other than you and there is no world outside of you. All there is you. What is the nature of you? Kshanika Vijnana. Then how come these different patterns of world are created? Because of samskaras. So in the samskaras there, so buddhi is what they take as Atma. So buddhi itself is chalam buddhi. So chalam buddhim, that is alone is taken as Atma. So buddhi is constantly changing, moment to moment it is changing, that alone is taken as Atma, as subject. And everything is a projection of this buddhi. These are the Kshanika Vijnana. They say that outside is Shunyam. Shunyavadins go a step further. Inside also is Shunyam. Even that Kshanika Vijnanam also, the truth of that is Shunyam alone. So there is only Shunyam. So they are called Asatkhyativadinah. Evam Adhisthana Swarupa Vivadaha. Adhisthana Swarupa Vivada, the contention pertaining to the nature of Adhisthana is, some people say that Adhisthana is real, some people say Adhisthana is unreal or non-existent. Then, the Apicha Adhisthana se Satyatvevi Jadatvam Ajadatvam Ityevam Tat Swarupa Vivadaha. Again, when you say Adhisthana is Satyam, is it Jadam or Ajadam? So, Jadatvevi Jadatvam Ajadatvam. There also there is a Vivada. We say that the rope is real, okay, Vyavaharik Satya, but it is Jadam. Somebody may say it is Ajadam, or what it is, or Atma is Jada or Ajada, so that may be the Tattva Swarupa Vivada. Then, what is the Vivada with reference to Adhyaropa? Says Anyatha Khyātivādinah Tārkikaha Akhyātivādinah Prabhākarāscha Deshantarnishtham Rajadam iti vadanti. There is what we call Tarkikaha Nayayikaha. Anyatha Khyātivādinah. Their vada is called Anyatha Khyāti. And there are Prabhakaraha, they are called Akhyātivādinah. So what do they say? The Rajatam, the silver that you see is what? Deshantarnishtham Rajatam. So they say that this Anyatha Khyātivādinah and Akhyātivādinah, both of them say the silver that you perceive there is real silver. But what? Deshantarastham Rajatam. deshantaranishtam. Elsewhere, in another place, like in a shop or some place, that silver that is there is what you see here. In that also, the anyatha khyātivādinaha, the Nayayikas say that the silver that obtains there is the silver that you are seeing now. What happens is, some kind of a dosha happens. This eyes or our sense perception has some alaukikatvam. For example, when you see a cube of ice, you also seem to feel the coldness of the ice, they say. Or when you see a rose, then you also feel the fragrance of the rose. So how fragrance actually cannot be perceived by the eyes? Eyes can only perceive the color of the rose, it can perceive the rose, but how do you perceive the fragrance? That is called alaukika. So there is a extrasensory perception or alaukika perception, not laukika, not sensory perception. So this kind of perception one possesses. Except that some samskara must be there. In the rose also the samskaras are there, that the rose is fragrant. And therefore, when I perceive the rose, the fragrance also I feel. It's not that I remember fragrance, I feel the fragrance. When I see a cube of ice, not that I remember coldness, I feel coldness. That feeling is called perception. And how that has happened? That's called alaukika, extrasensory perception is there. Similarly also, when you see shuktika or shell, then because that glitter or something that alaukika aspect of our perception gets activated, and you actually see the silver that is lying elsewhere. This is what they say. So, silver which is real silver, not here, elsewhere, that's what you see. Then what is the Brahma involved here? Brahma is that you don't realize that silver is there, you think that silver is here. So you think that silver is there. There is silver someplace, but then you think silver is in front of you, that is the Brahma. Not that silver is projected. Silver is real, but Brahma is that you do not have the viveka, that silver is elsewhere and not here. And what is akhyātivādina and this Prabhakaras, what do they say? That it's not that you see the silver, perceive the silver, that you remember silver. They say that when you look at the shuktika, that glitter reminds you of the silver and there is memory of the real silver. You had in the past experienced the silver and that samskara is there. That samskara is activated due to perception of the shell, and those samskaras bring about a memory of silver in your mind. Then what is the Brahma here? That you do not realize that silver, which is what you know, is an object of memory. You think that silver is perceived there. So silver which is in memory, which is in your mind or an object of memory, is mistaken to be obtaining in front of you. That is the Brahma part. But then they also say that silver is real silver, because memory also pertains to a real experience. And so that is a remembered silver. But you don't realize that you are remembering silver and you think that you are looking at the silver in front of you. These are the akhyātivādinaha. So anyatha akhyātivādinaha tarkikaha, akhyātivādinaha, and they are not easy to dismiss. We dismiss them in 2 minutes, you discuss with them and they'll take 7 days to be dismissed, But anyway, this is the crux of it. So anyatha akhyātivādinaha tarkikaha, akhyātivādinaha prabhakarascha deshantaranishtam rajadamiti vadanti. He quotes both of them together. But deshantaranishtatvam is different in that sense. Deshantaranishtam, one person says that we perceive deshantaranishtam rajadam, other person says we remember deshantaranishtam rajadam. Atmakhyātivādinaha, these are the kshanika vijñānis. Atmakhyātivādinaha buddhinishtamiti. What do the kshanika vijñānis, Bauddha say? They say everything is nothing but buddhi, atma. Sarvam kshanikam kshanikam. Atma which is of the nature of a stream of momentary consciousness, that upon that Atma alone is projection of the whole world. And as we said, how come a different configuration or pattern of the world obtains at a given point in time? That is determined by the samskara. So every moment as the samskara of the past come, then you perceive the same momentary consciousness in the form of the creation. You think that you are looking at the world, you are not. You are only looking at the consciousness. You think that you are looking, you are not looking. Then you are. Even the looking also is projected. The looker also is projected. The perceiver, the perceived and the perception, all the three are projected. All of them are nothing but that Kshanika Vijnanam. And therefore, the silver which you think is in front of you is what? Actually nothing but projected silver. And where is it? In your mind. In the buddhi, the silver is, because constantly buddhi undergoes transformation in the form of silver. Even Shuktika also according to them. Not only Shuktika is a Kshanika silver is Kshanika Vijnanam, Shuktika also. According to them, there is no satta other than Pratibhasik satta. They say, so what is it? Dhruvam kaschit sarvam sakalam adhruvam sakalamapi adhruvam. These fellows, everything is adhruvam, everything kshanikam, kshanikam, kshanikam. So they say that the silver which is buddhinishtam, rajatam, that is buddhinishtam, alone you think that it is out there. So silver is there according to them where? Buddhinishtam. Now what is the Brahma part here? That what is buddhinishtam or obtaining in the buddhi is taken to be obtaining in front of you. So this is the Brahma according to them. This is the Atmakhyadivadinah. Vedantinastu Anirvachaniyavadinah. And how about the other fellows? Asatkhyativadinah. They say that silver is shunyam. So on. The Atmakhyadivadinah says silver is buddhinishtam. Asatkhyativadinah say that silver is shunyam. And the Anyathakhyativadinah deshantaranishtam. And the Akhyadivadinah Smrutam deshantaranishtam. What are about the Vedantins? They are called Anirvachaniya Khyātivādinah. Vedantinastu Anirvachaniyavādinah Adhisthānanishtamiti. So where is that silver? There is some fellows say it is up there. Some people say it is memory. Some people say it is in the buddhi. Some people say it is not there. What do the Vedantins say? Adhisthānanishtam. Where is silver? In the Shuktika. This is a very important point. Silver is not in your mind. Silver is not an object of memory. Silver is not elsewhere. Where is silver? There is silver. Where is it? In the Adhishthanam, in the substratum. Why do we say that? Because of the pravrutti. See, when you look and see that silver, what happens to you? You are motivated to or inspired to go and pick up that silver. So that silver, perception of the silver, creates in you a desire. Desire to pick it up, and there is a pravrutti of picking up that silver. When would you go and pick up that silver? Only when you think that silver is there. So where is silver? Right there in the Adhisthana. Had it been an object of memory, then you know that I remember the silver. So very often we sit and remember things. There is no pravrutti of acquiring them because we know that it is a memory. Similarly, if you know that silver is there in some other shop and you are here on the beach, there is no way that there will be any pravrutti to acquire that silver either. Or if you think that silver is in buddhi, then also there will be no pravrutti because you know that it is a projected silver. But then silver is real when you look at it. And where is it located? In the Adhishthanam. So Vedanta Adhishthananishtam Rajatam. That pravrutti shows. That pravrutti is a proof of the pudding, as I say, because that proves everything else is wrong. Had it been memory, there will be no confusion. Then we'll see. Anyway, so Adhishthananishtam iti. Oh, Bauddha Ekadeshi Shunyavadidu Asadrupamiti. So other fellows, Shunyavadins, Bauddha Ekadeshi, one school of Buddhas, they totally say non-existent silver. Non-existent shell also. And non-existent silver. Everything is non-existent. Iti aropya swarupa vivada iti bhava. Thus there is vivada, contention pertaining to swarupa, nature of aropya, what is superimposed. Lakshana samvadat lakshanasya sarvasammatatvad ityartha. However, with all of these people, this paratra paravbhasaha, in one place appearance of another. With another is smriti, buddhinishtam, non-existent, lying elsewhere. So, or adhishthananishtam, everywhere, this is the common element, paratra paravbhasa. In that, these people do not differ. In everything else, they differ. So therefore, Ratnaprabhakara said, paratra paravāsaha iti lakshane samvādat. Lakshana samvad lakshanasya sarvasammatatvat. Since everyone accepts or is in agreement with that aspect of lakshanam. Yukti bhi satyadishthane mithyartha avabhasa siddhe. And by yukti you will be able to show that adhishthana must be satyam, because that niradhisthana Brahma is not possible. We say that Brahma can take place only when there is something real there. You may see a snake where some entity called rope is there. You would be able to see Rajata only where some entity called Shuktika is there. Without some entity, there cannot be Brahma of something else. And so, Adhishthana must be Satyam. And then, what you see, is it Satyam? You cannot say it is Satyam. But then Rajata that you see, would you say that it is not there? I cannot say it is not there, because had it not been there, and there would have been no activity on my part to pick it up, the fact that I proceed to pick it up shows that Rajata is there. But then is it real? We cannot say it is real, because when I pick up that shell, I find that there is no Rajatam, and therefore we cannot say it is not there because there is pravritti. We cannot say it is there because I don't find it. Had it been there, I would have found it. Had it not been there, I would not have gone to pick it up. Since I went to pick it up, you cannot say it is not there. Since I did not find it, you cannot say it is there. Then what is it? Anirvachaniyam. And so, sadsadbhyam anirvachaniyam. That's called mithya. And so, we say that mithya avabhasa. So, adhisthana is satyam and avabhasa is mithya. This is Vedanta. Siddhehe, by yukti you will be able to show, as we did. So, sarvatantra siddhante idam lakshanam. Sarvatantra siddhanta. Tantra padam, mataparam, shastraparam va. In all the opinions or in all the shastras, idam lakshanam paratra paravabhasa or atasmin tad buddhi. This lakshanam is common to everyone. Iti matva tathāti siddhantatvena idam lakshanam sarvaihi abhyupagatam. And so everyone accepts this lakshana as their siddhanta. And therefore madhi matva. This thinking so, Bhashyakara anyatha atmakhyadivadinor matamaha. In one statement, Bhashyakara gives two matas. Anyatha khyadivadinah, atmakhyadivadinah matam. Tam kechit iti. So Bhashya now says, tam kechita anyatra anyadharmadhyasah iti vadanti. Tam adhyasam. Tam. So kechit anyatra anyadharmadhyasah. Some people say kechit anyatra in one place, anyadharma adhyasah. Adhyasa superimposition of the dharma of another. In Shuktika, the superimposition of the dharma of Rajata. But anyatra, in Shuktika, anya dharma. In one case, anya means what? So anya desha nishtam. And so deshantar nishtam. That silver which is deshantar nishtam lying elsewhere is what you see here. Other fellow says that silver which is an object of a memory is what you see that. In either case, anyatra anyadharma adhyasah. Says Ratnaprabha, kechid means anyatha khyadivadinah. Of them, anyatha and atma khyadivadinah, both of them the definition is this. Of them, anyatha khyadivadinah. Anyatra meaning shuktau or shuktyadau. Anyadharmasya meaning what? Anyadharmasya means rajat dharmasya, swa avayava dharmasya, deshantarastha rupyadehe adhyasa iti vadanti. So this word deshantarastha rupya. Rupya means silver. So shuktyadau in such locus or objects as or entities like shukti, etc. Then adi is that shukti avacchina chaitanyam, as I said yesterday. So anya means deshantarastha rupyadehe adhyasa. There is superimposition of deshantarastha rupyam of silver that is lying in another desha. Says khyati padam avabhasa padam. Khyati padam means khyati means avabhasa, means appearance or brahma. Ekameva lakshanam matadvaya yojaniyam. This kechid anyatra anyadharma adhyasa. This lakshanam is matadvaya yojaniyam is applicable to both the matas iti ashayana idam uktam iti bhavaha. Swavaya dharmasya swapadam rajata padam param. And so, is dharma of the rajata. What is it? That glittering, etc. So, dharma of the rajata appears in Shuktika. And that's why there is Brahma there is rajat there. So, this is the opinion of the Anyatha Khyati. What is the opinion of the Atma Khyati? Anyatra Anya Dharma Dhyasa says on the page 46, Atma Khyati Vadinastu Bhakya Shuktyadau Buddhirupa Atmanah Dharmasya Rajatasya Dhyasah Antarasya Rajatasya Bahirvat. Oh, I'm sorry. Atma Khyati is Kshanika Vijnanis. Bahya Shuktyadau. They say that Rajatam is what? Buddhinishtam. Those fellows say Rajatam is Deshantaranishtam, and Atma Khyati Vadina say it is Buddhinishtam. So Buddhinishtam meaning the Rajata that obtains in the Buddhi is mistaken to be obtaining in front of you. So that is that. Bahye Shuktyadau Buddhirupa Atmanah Dharmasya Rajatasya Adhyasah Antarasya Rajatasya Bahirvat Avhasa iti vadanti. So these Atma Khyati Vadina say Bahye Shuktyadau, Shukti etc. which are out there in front of you. Buddhirupa Atmanah Dharmasya Anya Dharmasya. There Anya Dharma Rajata Dharmasya in that case. Here it is Buddhirupa Atmanah Dharmasya. There is a difference there. So this Rajatam is what? Atma Dharma. Because Atma, which is Buddhi according to them, alone gets transformed in the form of Rajata. Atma alone keeps on assuming these different forms. And so Rajata etc. is also what? Nothing but transformation of Atma. So Rajata is what? Atma Dharma. So Atmanah Dharmasya Rajatasya Adhyasah. So Rajata, which is Dharma of the Atma, there is superimposition of that Dharma upon Shukti which is out there. Antarasya Rajatasya Bahiravat Avhasah iti vadanti. So Atma Khyadivadin say that Rajata which is Antara Bahiravat Avhasa, as though the Rajatam is out there, that appearance of the Rajata as though it is out there, whereas in fact it is in, this is the Adhyasa. So they accept the Rajata as obtaining inside. The Adhyasa part is what? Seeing it outside, as though whereas it obtains inside, this is their Adhyasa. In case of Anyatha Khyadivadina, Rajatam is also there according to them elsewhere, and seeing it here is Adhyasa. Atma Khyadivadina, Rajata which is in the Buddhi, seeing it out there. So Anyatra Anya Dharma Dhyasah. This is what they say. Says on the page 46, Anyatha Khyati Mate Anya Dharma Avabhasa iti bhashye Anyasya Dharma Anyesham Dharma iti Vigraha Abhipretah Asmin Mate tu Anyasya Dharma iti Vigraham Abhipretya Vyakhyadi Buddhi iti Antarasya Buddhi Parinama Rupasya Rajatasya Idam Rajatam iti Shabda Prayogar Bahit Padartha Vat Avbhasa iti Vadanti iti Bhavaha. Even though Rajata is Antaram Buddhi Parinamam, when we say Idam Pada Rajatam, it is something that is lying out there. Shabda Prayoga, this Vyavahara, hey, this is the silver. When you say, that very expression reveals that I take the silver as obtaining out there. And therefore, silver that obtains inside is taken to be as though obtaining out there. Then Akhyati Matamaha. That's the Prabhakaras, Akhyati, who say that Rajata is of the nature of memory, and then you think that it is actually there. That's the difference. So Bhashyakara says Kechittu further, page 46. Kechittu yatra yadadhyasah tadvivekagraha nibandhanah brahmah iti. Kechittu, however, this Prabhakara say yatra yadadhyasah. Yatra always is seventh. Shodhana, Shuktyadav. Yadadhyasah, yasya adhyasah, rajatadehe adhyasah. Tad vivek agraha. Vivek agraha, vivek agraha. Viveka is discrimination. So lack of appreciation of that discrimination. Nibandhano brahmaha. Brahma is Nibandhana, means Brahma is caused by that Agraha, not being able to discriminate between the Adhyastha Padartha and Adhishthanam. Adhyastha Padartha is Smriti Rupaha. And then so they say that you see Shuktika and you remember silver. That's what they say. Now if I see Shuktika and if I remember silver, then I know that Shuktika is there and silver is here. See, when I see a person and I remember my father, let us say, then there is no confusion. I don't take that person to be my father. That person reminds me of the father. In which case, there is a clear understanding on my part that father is the object of memory and the person is object of perception. So very often we are reminded of things by some other things. But that time there is no confusion in our mind. We realize that what is perceived is out there and what is remembered is within my mind. And so that father is an object of memory, not object of perception. But suppose you fail to distinguish between the two, then you may think that that is my father. This is what they say. They say that this Shuktika which is there reminds you of Rajata. So Rajata is what? An object of memory. Shuktika is what? Object of perception. However, there is no Bheda Agraha, that Viveka Agraha. That Viveka or Bheda, the distinction between what you perceive and what you remember is not there. And therefore you think that silver is out there. Just as you confuse that person or you mistake that person to be a father, and because you don't realize that what is perceived is different from what is remembered, in this case, this is what Prabhakara says, that this Viveka or Bheda is not there. Bheda Agraha. That Viveka Agraha should be Bheda Agraha. That distinction between that perception and the memory is not there, therefore that Brahma is there.